Elon Musk. Tesla, SpaceX, and the Road to the Future. Author, Ashley Vance. Introduction. Elon Musk is a legend of Silicon Valley and one of the most amazing people in the history of world business. Inventor, businessman and industrialist, who built his business empire on radical ideas and brought hatred and admiration to himself in equal measure. Any action in his life is subject to the realization of incredible plans. His work schedule is extreme even by the standards of Silicon Valley, and his lifestyle is extravagant and sometimes contradicts common sense. The result is the success of 3 different business projects, which many seem unattainable. A few years ago, few people took Elon Musk seriously. Today, his business empire with factories, tens of thousands of workplaces and top-class specialists in various fields has made him one of the richest people in the world with a net worth of $11.7 billion. At the expense of SpaceX, Tesla Motors and SolarCity, there are a number of indisputable achievements that have irreversibly changed the aerospace and electric motor industries and energy, and the further development of which in the future can change the whole world. Many successful company leaders and legendary personalities openly admire Musk. There are many others who, on the contrary, hold grudges against him, suspect deception and seek revenge. He is compared to Steve Jobs and Bill Gates for his determination and scope of ambition. In it there are ghosts of Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Howard Hughes. According to the media, Elon Musk is called the prototype of the inventor Tony Stark from the movie Iron Man. Therefore, this book, the first biography of Elon Musk, an opportunity to learn about a person who has achieved so much, trace his path and observe the factors of success and reasons for failure. You will find out what kind of people are obsessed with dreams, and how they manage to realize their ideas. 1. Character and outlook. Elon Musk's declared life goal is the exploration and human settlement of space. Musk is convinced that humanity will have a guaranteed future only if the problem of renewable energy is solved and a self-sustaining civilization is established on another planet. This goal is the basis of any of his projects, and any of his actions should be evaluated in the light of approaching the main goal or moving away from it. They talk about Musk as a very smart, purposeful person with a huge ego, boundless energy, and willingness to work until exhaustion. He refers to the type of people who have found an idea for their life, set themselves a goal and don't waste a minute. Not recognizing any limitations, he is able to squeeze the maximum out of his enterprises and employees. He is obsessively attentive to details and personally involved in every effort. He is erudite and well-versed in the technical details of his companies. The idea of a balance between work and personal life does not exist for him. His work is life, and his wife and children have to adapt to this scheme. It is difficult to work with him. Sometimes he seems unbearable and capricious, although he often jokes and can be charming. He is inclined to abruptly change his opinion and put in the blacklist all those who do not meet his standards. Musk is confident in himself, but he doesn't always show it, and therefore he can appear shy and awkward. His manner of simply discussing the impossible is discouraging. It is not obvious to everyone that Musk is capable of deep suffering, of overwhelming delight and, moreover, he is incredibly naive. Faith in his mission to change humanity does not always allow him to feel the emotions and needs of others. Therefore, he seems distant, cold, and withdrawn and does not show affection towards people. With loved ones, he is no less friendly, emotional, and always ready to help. The roots of such a contradictory character are probably to be found in his childhood and the difficulties of his teenage years. Born in 1971 in South Africa, in a wealthy white family with American roots, he had all the privileges and opportunities that his status gave him, and at the same time he could observe the entire spectrum of problems characteristic of South Africa at that time. Elon's childhood coincided with the most unpleasant manifestations of apartheid, which caused him a sense of shame and strengthened his belief that humanity must be saved. The spirit of adventure and risk, love of research, faith in oneself and the possibility of defeating rock, these are the attitudes with which the children in this family grew up over several generations. The children were convinced that they are capable of anything, it's just a matter of making a decision and carrying it out. However, Elon grew up alone and suffered from the bullying of other children. The manner of correcting others and withdrawing into oneself, solving some tasks, along with the lack of interest in sports, did not contribute to the appearance of a large number of friends. Musk himself considers the strict upbringing of his father, with whom he wished to stay after his parents' divorce, as well as an interest in science fiction and computer science, which was manifested at the time when almost no one knew about computers and the internet in South Africa. as the defining element in the formation of his character. Reading fantastic books at the turning points of adulthood, one of the main ones is Hitchhiker on the Galaxy, which taught him to ask questions, mixed fantasy and reality in his mind, and allowed him to realize his mission, to contribute to the general sanctification of humanity. The fate of humanity in the universe became his personal problem and responsibility. Thoughts of great deeds and victories have not given him peace since then. That is why those who meet him on the way must either help or get off the road. Not slowing down progress with mistakes or unsuccessful ideas. At the age of 17, Elon Musk left for Canada, through which he wanted to get to Silicon Valley in the United States. 2 years later, after he entered the Royal University in Kingston, Ontario, Musk won a scholarship and moved to the University of Pennsylvania, where he received a bachelor's degree in physics and economics. There he met his future first wife, Justin, whom he had been pursuing for a long time and who became the mother of his 5 children. 2. First startups, 2.1. Zip2. Today, Elon Musk's business is not connected to the internet. However, in the mid-1990s, it was internet startups that allowed him to lay the foundation for his future state. In 1995, just after graduating from university, Elon and his brother opened the Global Link Information Network, a startup that later received the name Zip2. It was based on the idea of creating an online business directory connected to a map, similar to Google Maps in combination with the Yelp catalog. At that time, no one dreamed of such a service and did not understand its advantages, so it was not easy to convince potential clients. However, Musk's assertiveness and his belief that any started business should be brought to the end played a role. Venture investors saw exactly this. He was ready to put his life on the creation of such a platform. In 1996, the startup received an investment of $3 million from Davido Ventures, was able to attract top-class professionals, with whose help he quickly built one of the best internet address search systems. After this, Musk became the director of technology, and not the general director, as he wanted, so he no longer had full influence on the business. Despite this, Zip2 developed and filled Musk with confidence in his abilities. He took everything into his own hands, sometimes changed the codes without consulting, and exhausted young engineers with excessive requirements and criticism. Musk strived for leadership, but people doubted him. For him, they were wrong, and he always insisted on his own, which often led to serious conflicts. The company continued to find. Newspapers started using the created platform to place ads from the classified rubric. A merger with a key competitor, City Search, was planned, but Musk refused, and the deal did not take place. In 1999, the startup Zip2 was sold to the Compaq company for $307 million, which became a big success. As a result, Musk received $22 million and the experience of creating an extremely successful startup. 2.2. X.com and PayPal. Even before the sale of Zip2, Elon started another project related to internet banking. Musk was convinced that the financial sector is on the verge of radical modernization and that he will be able to influence it with relatively small investments. He wanted to create a full-fledged financial online company, servicing current accounts, providing insurance and brokerage services, etc. The complexity of the project and risks the Musk is not scary. In March 1999, the company X.com was registered, and the sale of Zip2 allowed Musk to invest $12 million in a new startup. Musk managed to do away with annoying customer fees and fines for exceeding the limit, build a system of private payments and attract 200,000 customers in 2 months. For people who are already used to shopping on Amazon and eBay, he offered high-quality internet banking, fully translating standard financial services online. In 2000, X.com began to cooperate with Confinity, which developed its payment system. At first they worked together, but then they became irreconcilable competitors. Confinity began to engage in its own PayPal payment service via the internet and electronic mail. However, Confinity spent $100,000 per day for new clients and had no reserves for further promotion, whereas X.com had reserves in many other more complex banking products. In March 2000, Musk decided to merge the two companies and became the largest shareholder of the combined company X.com. Active promotion of the electronic payment system on internet auctions led to rapid business growth. The company managed to attract 1 million clients, including Deutsche Bank and Goldman Sachs, and make big money. But it was not possible to create a single team. There were disagreements over the issues of the brand and technological infrastructure, and the complication of technical problems due to the growth of the client base and the need to modernize the system made the company vulnerable to hacker attacks and competitors. There was a lack of a complete business model, and the money went out as quickly as it came. More and more people in the company began to doubt Musk's ability to make decisions at critical moments. In 2000, when Musk went on his honeymoon with Justin, he was removed from the position of general director. Musk behaved with dignity, tried to resist for a while, but then gave in. By June 2001, Musk's influence was finally lost, and the company was renamed PayPal. Musk reacted with restraint, chose for himself the role of an advisor to the company and continued to invest. In February 2002, the company placed its shares on the stock exchange, and in October 2002 it was bought on eBay for $1.5 billion. Musk received an income of $250 million from the sale, $180 million after paying taxes, which can be considered an incredible fortune in the conditions of a deep recession in the high-tech sector. After the PayPal episode, Musk's reputation as a leader suffered, and the media attacked him for the first time. He presented himself as a stubborn egoist, making wrong decisions and leaving cracks in the company with his omniscience. This made it difficult to find investors and attract experienced managers to your side. The site about celebrities of the Silicon Valley, Valleywag, made hunting Musk one of the favorite projects. Even those who generally supported the entrepreneur believed that he poorly managed the company, technological infrastructure and measures to protect users from fraud. By and large, he went into a very complicated business, not caring that he did not know its features, and studied it by books. He was ready to take an insane risk that could lead to the loss of everything. By June 2001, Musk's influence was finally lost, and the company was renamed PayPal. Musk reacted with restraint, chose for himself the role of an advisor to the company and continued to invest. In February 2002, the company placed its shares on the stock exchange, and in October 2002 it was bought on eBay for $1.5 billion. Musk received an income of $250 million from the sale, $180 million after paying taxes, which can be considered an incredible fortune in the conditions of a deep recession in the high-tech sector. After the PayPal episode, Musk's reputation as a leader suffered, and the media attacked him for the first time. He presented himself as a stubborn egoist, making wrong decisions and leaving cracks in the company with his omniscience. This made it difficult to find investors and attract experienced managers to your side. The site about celebrities of the Silicon Valley, Valleywag, made hunting Musk one of the favorite projects. Even those who generally supported the entrepreneur believed that he poorly managed the company, technological infrastructure and measures to protect users from fraud. By and large, he went into a very complicated business, not caring that he did not know its features, and studied it by books. He was ready to take an insane risk that could lead to the loss of everything. The reaction of the space community was sluggish. They watched such a spectacle more than once. Musk understood the risks, but Tom Mueller was on his side, and this inspired hope for success. Mueller agreed to work with Musk. Musk, unlike his predecessors, whose ideas bordered on insanity, understood what he was talking about and knew exactly what he was going to do. In June 2002, Musk founded SpaceX, Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, becoming its CEO and chief engineer. The main idea of the Musk was to radically reduce the cost of rocket launches and to establish them on a regular basis in order to open a new market for sending commercial and scientific cargo. It was decided to focus on independent production of high-quality and cheaper engines, and then beat competitors due to a fast and high-quality assembly process. The concept included the creation of a mobile launcher capable of moving to different places and transferring the rocket from a horizontal position to a vertical one. It was assumed that the process will be so well-tuned that it will allow several launches per month, which will save SpaceX from the need to become a large contractor dependent on government funding. Musk set incredibly bold, extremely tight, but vitally necessary deadlines. He explained this approach as follows: in 10 years, the company should earn $10 million per day, so every day of delay leads to the loss of these funds in the future. It is very difficult to build a cheap cargo rocket, but Elon Musk's company had at least the following advantages: more than $100 million of startup investments, providing Musk full control over the company, self-production of 80 to 90% of components of rockets, electronics and other equipment, dollars from leading producers, The same engines can be used on rockets of different configurations, which allows you to save time and money. Special features of management. Musk does not tolerate answers or lack of a clear action plan. 12-hour working day 6 days a week has become the norm. The enthusiasm of employees who have received interesting work and a high level of trust in young specialists. This is inspiring, and the exhausting workload and high demands are perceived as part of the big way. Refusal to work with contractors who are lagging behind the schedule, for example, Spincraft. To date, the company has developed two types of potentially reusable launch vehicles: Falcon 1, the last launch June 2009, and Falcon 9, the first successful launch June 2010, as well as the reusable spaceship Dragon, which is delivered to space by the Falcon 9 rocket. SpaceX is the first commercial company to do this. In July 2010, SpaceX received $440 million from NASA for further development of Dragon. Dragon V2 was developed, capable of docking with space modules in automatic mode. In May 2012, SpaceX became the first private company whose ship docked with the ISS. SpaceX is more attractive in terms of launch costs than competitors Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Orbital Science, and at the same time, it offers American customers a level of reliability and peace of mind that is not yet available to competitors. The price is $60 million. ZA Pusk, this is much less than what the Europeans and Japanese are asking for, and even slightly more profitable than the offers of Russia and China, where governments have been financing space programs for decades and where the cost of labor remains low. No American aerospace company, except for SpaceX, can compete on an equal footing with foreign colleagues. The main competitor in the market for launching military satellites and other large cargos is United Launch Alliance. In the area of delivery of cargo to the ISS and launch of commercial satellites, Orbital Science Corporation. During the next few years, it is planned to reduce prices to the level of 1/10 of the competitor's offer and obtain the majority of the world's commercial launches. SpaceX launches rockets about once a month, putting satellites into orbit for companies and states. At the moment, 18 launches have been carried out and more than 50 flights are planned with a total cost of over $5 billion. The company remains in private ownership with the largest shareholder in the person of Musk and external investors, including Founders Fund, Draper Fisher Jurvetson. Overcoming the crisis in 2008. When it was almost on the verge of bankruptcy, SpaceX became profitable. Its market value is estimated at $5 to $10 billion, but it is not yet planning to enter the stock market. 3.2 Tesla Motors. The coincidence of the desire of several people to bring the electric vehicle industry to a new level led to the creation of the Tesla concern. Independently of each other, engineers Jeffrey Brian Strobel, as well as Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, were engaged in the development of lithium-ion batteries for cars and tried to find investors for the implementation of the project. AC Propulsion, whose Zero car was the top of the model line, was at the forefront of the electric car segment at that time. Musk looked at his potential and offered financing, but was turned down. On July 1, 2003, Eberhard and Tarpenning founded the company Tesla Motors. Musk became the main investor in the company, willingly accepting the idea of its founders and sharing with them a broader goal: the liberation of the United States from oil dependence. He invested $6.5 million. He became the president of the company. The creators of Tesla followed the same path as many Silicon Valley startups. They hired a group of young engineers and solved all the tasks themselves. The plan was to license the AC Propulsion company's Zero technology for its car and use the chassis of the Lotus Elise sports car, which is popular in the upper price segment. Company management purchased the principal diagram of the electric motor construction and decided to buy the transmission from American or European suppliers and order the manufacture of the rest of the nodes and components to Asian manufacturers. Thus, the Tesla engineers had to create a battery block, lay the electrical wiring and make the necessary elements to assemble the car. DE joined the company to create a battery block that turned out to be a real breakthrough in technology. Strobel. No one has yet tried to connect thousands of lithium-ion batteries in parallel, so Tesla turned out to be a pioneer. In the future, the problem of explosive batteries was solved, as a result of which the machine became one of the safest in the world. For 4 months from October 18, 2004 until January 27, 2005, a team of 18 people created a completely new type of car. Musk was satisfied and continued financing. In May and July 2006, 2 prototypes of the Tesla Roadster were created, 1 black and 2 red. prototypes made an impression on investors who began to understand the long-term potential of Tesla. And the press was intrigued. The red Roadster, double cabriolet, accelerated to 60 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, in 4 seconds. The machines were fragile to avoid overheating, they were changed every 5 minutes, but nevertheless they represented the pinnacle of modern engineering thought. The cost of each car was estimated at approximately $90,000, and the claimed range without recharging was 250 miles, a little more than 400 kilometers. The Tesla team promised 3 years later to introduce a less expensive car and start deliveries from the middle of 2007. The appearance of the machine caused a wide resonance in the automotive world and did not leave anyone indifferent. Preliminary orders started coming in and investments poured in. Tesla still couldn't sell its cars, but it was possible to join a club where membership included a free car for $100,000. In the middle of 2012, Tesla Motors has shaken the automotive industry by starting to deliver the Model S sedan, an executive-class car with a range of more than 300 miles, 482 kilometers, capable of accelerating to 60 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, in 4.5 seconds. The salon can accommodate up to 7 people. In addition, the car has 2 trunks, the traditional rear and the front. Where ordinary cars have an engine, Tesla's strategy is based on the launch of expensive artificial cars with a further transition to more affordable cars as technology and production opportunities improve. With the help of Tesla, Musk is trying to push the boundaries of technology production and car sales, while at the same time building a worldwide network of charging stations. Tesla sales are organized directly, via the internet or in elite shopping centers. Charging stations, capable of providing a car with a reserve of power for several hundred kilometers in 20 minutes, are located near the main highways in the USA, Europe, and Asia. They work on solar energy and are free for owners of electric cars, as are the lion's share of other maintenance services. 3.3. SolarCity. Musk invested $30 million in the company SolarCity, the largest supplier of solar batteries for private consumers and enterprises, which in 2006 his cousins Lyndon and Peter Reeve opened it. Initially, the idea to make solar energy more accessible to ordinary consumers belongs to Musk, who became the owner of about a third of the company's shares and took the place of chairman of the board of directors. The business model consisted in the refusal of own production of solar panels. They bought them, and then they did the rest themselves. The brothers wrote a program that analyzed electricity bills based on the amount of light entering the house, based on which customers could assess the feasibility of installing a panel. Lyndon and Peter Reeve trained their own installers and created a financing system that required no down payment from buyers. Installation of panels allowed consumers to reduce electricity costs and dependence on the rise in utility prices. At the end of the lease term, the homeowner had the right to switch to new, more efficient panels and even transfer the contract to the new homeowner upon sale. With the help of its own software, the company manages a network of solar batteries that it has installed for its customers. Such a concept allowed SolarCity to occupy the first place in the USA for the installation of panel-type solar batteries for 6 years, ahead of dozens of competitors. In addition to private clients, she began to carry out large orders for corporations Intel, Walgreens, Walmart. In 2012, SolarCity held a public offering of shares and their price skyrocketed over the next few months. By 2014, when in Silicon Valley all new companies promoting environmentally friendly technologies, Fisker, Better Place, Solyndra, lost huge money and collapsed, the value of SolarCity approached $7 billion. In 2014, SolarCity has started selling energy storage systems that are produced in partnership with Tesla Motors. They complement panel batteries well, and with their help you can refuse to use the electricity network during peak periods or in case of power outages. In June 2014, the company acquired the producer of solar batteries Solevo, which will allow it to open its own production. Already now, the efficiency of these batteries is higher than most analogs and is 18.5%. 14.5% of the solar light is converted into energy, and if the technology is improved, it is possible to achieve an efficiency of 24%. Rental of batteries, sale of storage systems and own production actually make SolarCity a complex utility company. For suffering, Elon Musk gradually turned into a public figure. They began to perceive him as a rich, eccentric owner of the companies Tesla and SpaceX, who became the darlings of Silicon Valley bloggers. Musk only needed to bring new products to the market from time to time, about which he spoke. However, while he worked in public and in the press, the situation in the business left much to be desired. The second launch at SpaceX failed, the position of the Tesla company worsened. More than half of the investments turned out to be spent without results. Each launch of a rocket or the start of production of an electric car turned into a PR failure, and journalists attacked Musk with criticism. In the company, there was a struggle for leadership between Musk and Eberhard, and there were also many unsolved problems of a technical nature. The Roadster needed to be completely redone, and the media began to assume that this car would never come to market. At the end of 2007, a blog that publishes rumors about Silicon Valley celebrities dug up the details of Musk's removal from the post of PayPal CEO and questioned his entrepreneurial abilities. Tesla was named the #1 failure of 2008 among technological companies. Musk's financial situation worsened, and he had to start selling his unique things, like the McLaren racing car. He was ready to spend everything he had on two companies, even if he had to move to the basement of his wife's parents. Problems in family life were added to the difficulties in business. Triplets were born, depression started in the wife. In June 2008, Musk filed for divorce, the details of which, like the rest of his life, became widely known thanks to his wife's blog. The image that Musk worked on for years could crumble along with the business. The wife fought for money, and the public was on her side, which could not understand why the billionaire does not want to satisfy the fair demands of his wife. Musk's assets were not liquid, and he kept most of his own capital in Tesla and SpaceX shares. In mid-2008, being in deep depression, Musk met his future second wife, actress Tallulah Riley, in London. By the end of July, it became obvious that Musk barely had enough money to last until the end of the year. Things were going badly, there was no place to wait for investment, and Musk was under enormous pressure. The failure of the third launch of Falcon 1 had far-reaching consequences. The engine of the second stage did not work normally, so it was impossible to check whether the problems detected after the second launch had been fixed. If it was not possible to solve them, the game will be over. There is simply not enough money for the fifth start. The fourth launch was the last chance to convince the US government of SpaceX's capabilities, attract private investors and prepare the ground for new projects. It took place on September 28, 2008 and was successful. Falcon 1 became the first private spacecraft in history, which managed to reach a calculated orbit. It took 4.5 times more time than Musk had planned. But the financial situation of SpaceX remained catastrophic, and even an order from the Malaysian government for a commercial flight to launch a satellite into orbit could not help. Startup and payment could happen no earlier than mid-2009. Journalists wrote gloating articles about Musk's difficult financial situation. That Musk is not the founder of the Tesla company, but a businessman who stole it from Eberhard. The electric car was mocked and criticized. Someone from Tesla employees sent a revealing letter to the press, which gave rise to mass speculation about the company's imminent demise. The blows fell from all sides and made me think that all efforts were doomed. The calculations for the two companies showed that only one of them has a chance of survival, and Musk had to decide which one to support. At the end of 2008, he was left penniless. Musk experienced a painful internal struggle, lost a lot of weight, suffered from nightmares. He had to turn to the help of his friends to at least pay his employees while he was negotiating with investors. In addition, it was necessary to take funds from the fund, or advance payments were deposited on advance orders, which threatened him with prison for illegal use of other people's money. In December 2008, Musk launched active actions to save both companies. There was information that NASA is ready to conclude a contract for the delivery of cargo to the ISS. Musk was able to find out that SpaceX could become the main candidate for this contract, and made every effort to get it. To save Tesla from bankruptcy, it was necessary to ask investors to finance another round. Musk collected all his personal funds, took out a loan from SpaceX, sold part of his stake in SolarCity on the secondary securities market. Finally, the situation was saved by the deal with Everdream, which was acquired by Dell for $15 million. Musk managed to collect $20 million and agree with the existing investors to contribute the same amount. But one of the venture companies, Vantage Point Capital Partners, pulled out the payments, presumably with the aim of bankrupting Tesla, removing Musk from the leadership post, restructuring the capital and becoming the holder of the main stake. Musk changed the form of raising capital in this round from equity to debt, knowing that Vantage Point will not be able to participate in the deal with debt obligations. Because the investors who wanted to help were also out of the game, Musk decided to bluff. He reported that he would take another loan from SpaceX and finance the entire round, all $40 million. It worked, and the deal took place on Christmas Eve, a few hours before Tesla could be declared bankrupt. Musk invested his own $12 million, and the rest was contributed by investment companies. In December 2008, there were reports in the press that NASA refused the contract with SpaceX, which was probably the result of difficult relations between Musk and the head of NASA, Michael Griffin, who either did not like Musk's style or envied him, being one of the founders of SpaceX in the past. However, soon NASA still supported SpaceX by bypassing Griffin, providing them with $1.6 billion under the obligation to make 12 flights to the islands. The wounds of 2008 failures, the threat of loss of state, the ridicule of the press, the tragic death of a small son still hurt. But Musk is able to cope with great stress and maintain concentration in a crisis. He remains rational in difficult situations, and the more difficult the situation, the better he is able to show himself. 5. The road to the future. Initially, SolarCity, Tesla and SpaceX were weak players in their markets. However, since 2012 they started to present a threat to monopolists. The company SpaceX turned from the misunderstanding of the aerospace industry into one of the most stable operators of space transportation. She achieved a reduction in the cost of rocket production, and also made a significant contribution to the progress of aerospace technologies and the production of new materials. Among the plans for the near future are the beginning of flights into space with a person on board. A test-piloted flight to the ISS is planned for NASA in 2016, the production and sale of satellites. The testing of the Falcon Heavy rocket, designed as the most powerful rocket in the world, and also the development of multi-use rockets. Tests will be continued on landing the completed first stages of rockets on a platform in the ocean. The first successful test took place on January 10, 2015. In 2014, construction of its own partially automated spaceport in Texas has begun. The volume of the total market of space satellites, related services, and launch of rockets necessary for launching satellites into orbit has grown from $6 to more than $200 billion per year. Many countries are ready to pay for the launch of reconnaissance, telecommunication, and meteorological satellites. Commercial companies use space to provide services in such areas as television and radio broadcasting, internet access, meteorological forecasts, navigation, and cartography. Startups that create such innovative devices are forced to turn to Russia to launch satellites into space, but SpaceX intends to change the current balance of power on the market. Already now, SpaceX is able to compete with the giants of the military defense industry of the USA and other countries, mainly Russia and China. And if it manages to put production and launches of reusable rockets on stream, it will almost certainly drive a number of representatives of the rocket industry out of business and make SpaceX the world leader in sending people and cargo into space. The more distant plans of SpaceX remain the daily launches of passenger and cargo rockets into space and the preparation of flights to Mars. At the beginning of 2014, the company Tesla, which was mostly on the verge of bankruptcy since its inception, issued bonds worth $2 billion. Thanks to this, as well as the growth of shares and sales, she had the opportunity to expand production, open new salons and service centers. Tesla's main goal for 2015 is to bring an SUV to the market, Model X, and ensure the production of up to 100,000 cars per year. The main disadvantage is the high price, but there is hope that it will fit into the niche of family cars of the luxury class. Musk promised that by the time the new model appears, the network of charging stations, service centers, and battery replacement points will be expanded. The company also started working on the second version of the Roadster, talked about creating a truck, and absolutely seriously plans to release a submarine car. The best-selling model will be the third-generation model, Model 3, a four-door car that will be released in 2017. It will cost about $35,000, and its sales will show how much Tesla has changed the world. In 2015, Tesla begins production of battery systems for home use, which will allow people to disconnect from the network from time to time. Musk plans to build the so-called Gigafactory, is the world's largest production of lithium-ion batteries, which will allow to satisfy the demand, reduce the price, and increase the energy capacity of the batteries produced. Thanks to Musk, Americans can get the most modern tracks in the world with thousands of charging stations and electric cars in 10 years. If it is possible to release an affordable car capable of driving 500 miles, Tesla will achieve something that was considered impossible for years. The deployment of a network of charging stations around the world will change the traditional scheme of car sales and revolutionize their production. Tesla can eventually become the leader in the electric car market and challenge Apple, becoming the first company with a capitalization of $1 trillion. At the current rate of growth, SolarCity will become a powerful energy company and a leader in the market of solar batteries, which will finally justify the hopes placed on it. It is expected that by the end of 2015 the installed capacity of the solar panels of SolarCity will reach 2 gigawatts, which will ensure the production of 2.8 terawatt-hours of electricity per year. The company thereby applies to become one of the largest suppliers of electricity in the United States. Among other initiatives of Musk is the creation of a space-based internet by placing thousands of small communications satellites around the Earth. There is already an agreement to support part of the project in the amount of $1 billion with Google and Fidelity Investments, and the Hyperloop project. If all the plans succeed, Musk will become the richest and one of the world's most influential people, businessmen and innovators in his early 50s. He will bring back to America the most important types of industrial production and restore faith in technological progress. All three companies must solve serious technological problems. Bets are made on the ingenuity and ability of solar energy and the aerospace industry to develop in accordance with prognostic curves of prices and productivity. Even if everything goes as Musk suggests, new difficulties cannot be ruled out. The Tesla company may be forced to recall a lot of cars for some reason. At SpaceX, a rocket can explode with people on board, and the company will go bankrupt. The risk will be accompanied by Musk always. 2015. It was marked by the return of Musk's detractors to Wall Street, Tesla's low sales in China, doubts among some analysts about the long-term nature of demand for Model S. Tesla shares fell, and for the first time in a long time, Musk's voice, trying to defend the company's position, sounded excited. Conclusion: Elon Musk is America's most daring industrialist innovator and an extraordinary thinker capable of leading Silicon Valley on a new path of development. At the moment, he still makes toys for rich people and he still needs major consumer success or attracting the attention of 1 billion people, but his companies have already done much more than the famous detractors thought, and what he promises today inspires optimism even in doubt. The activities of Elon Musk can be assessed in different ways, but it is impossible not to recognize that over the past decades he has made the biggest contribution to the rocketry, automotive and energy industries. At the same time, he grew from a determined but insecure CEO of PayPal to a strong leader who earned the respect of thousands of people. In his work, he took a lot from the ethics of Silicon Valley: act quickly, learn quickly, save as much as possible, use the advantages of computer technology and the latest materials, get rid of the bureaucratic hierarchy, and added to it something that most entrepreneurs lack: a worldview, in which contains an important purpose that gives the entire activity a special meaning. Musk is a genius with his obsession, his eternal desire, his endless search, and he proves that if you engage in crazy, at first glance, things with real passion, you can achieve a lot. The life of Elon Musk says that it's not about luck and that success can be reproduced in that or another degree. Elon Musk can be a role model in an era when businessmen and politicians are focused on short-term profit and small tasks. Musk takes up ideas that others will hardly take up. He already has a plan of action when others are only beginning to understand the question. Perhaps society should follow his example to reconsider its choice of main goals and learn a new approach to achieving them. If a person is not familiar with the subject, his intuition does not work very effectively. Elon likes to repeat that it should be started with an understanding of basic principles. What is the physics of that or another process? How long will it take to organize the production? Can it be made cheaper? To assess the practical feasibility and perspective of the project, you need to soberly understand your physical and technological capabilities. Another lesson from Elon Musk: importance of broad education. In today's world, not everyone has good scientific and engineering training and at the same time is a good leader, knows how to manage processes, organize others, find money and interact with the state. But when a person is well-versed in different disciplines, he can look at things in a wider and new way, come up with bold ideas and find extraordinary and effective ways to implement them. These are the people who drive progress in the modern world.